So today's mastermind, we have got little track changed where instead of talking a general subject, there is something that we would be talking. And today mastermind will be a little different from different aspects, which I will put this out. The topic today we have taken is stress. And golden nugget also is going to be around this particular stress and some fine aspects of this with my personal real life experiences, something that which I have been struggling for almost a year plus. Rather, I have been diagnosed a year back, and I have been holding it for how long is not known. It's like any disease that you have a disease and you kind of keep holding that disease without knowing that it is a disease because the symptoms have not appeared, or maybe symptoms have appeared but you have not noticed that symptom, or you've noticed the symptom and you have ignored that symptom. So whatever has happened, so there is something that there is a thing existing but you did not really started addressing it. For me, this was existing. I was some point in time noticing it from a different aspect, and then what happened was I identified. So it became a thing for me myself that I have been coaching everyone and I've been talking that, but there is something that which I have been struggling with, and this was related to that particular stress. And I would then get into that fine aspect of it. So today in this session, I'm going to give you live case study of myself. And this mastermind session is going to be different in other aspect also because I'm not going to teach anything today. So there is no teaching today. I'm going to put my case in front of you. I'm going to put the strategies or the remedies which I have followed, whatever tricks that I have tried, and I want you to relate with that, and you would be able to relate with that with the similar intensity that this is something that you also somewhere it is there. And then I'm going to learn from you. I'm going to take practical advices from you to address this particular problem, which is my problem, which is your problem, and perhaps most of us problem. I'm sure this problem will be for most of you, only that the intensity and the degree might vary from one to other. So this is what is the context of this particular thing. So let me start with this question to all of you. Are you addicted to stress? Are you addicted to stress? And keep responding because today is response thing. So you can unmute, you can talk, you can keep chatting. So you would say that ye kaisa sawal hua? Ki are you addicted to stress? So keep answering. And let me put this question in a different perspective. Most of you are saying yes. Let me put this to some perspective. Stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension. Either you have emotional tension or you have physical tension. It can come from anything actually. Throughout the day, whatever you go through, it can come from anything. It can come from here, it can come from there. But then it can come from anything that does not go as per your desire. So you have got certain desire, you have got certain expectation. Rather, a better word is an expectation than desire. That if you have got some kind of expectation from some relationship, you have got some expectation from that business, some profitability, you have got some expectation from that project to get completed on a particular time, you've got some expectation that this exam you will score this much, or whatever your expectation you have kept. You have some kept expectation from your employee, from your spouse, from your parents, from your children. Any expectation if you keep, and if that expectation is not met to that extent, then there is... I will mute everyone and you can unmute. So if the expectation is not met, some level of a stress will get created. It can come from anything which is negative. The stress can come from anything that makes you frustrated. The stress can come from anything that makes you angry, that makes you nervous. If anything of that sort comes, again, if anything making you angry, if anything making you nervous, if anything making you frustrated, what is there? All of them are not something that you expected. If anything making you annoyed, that means you did not expect that. You expect otherwise. So if there is an expectation, so I'm just trying to, put that out in a perspective and then trying to, put my actual problem to you. So this is general, detailing of stress. Little more if we talk on this. I mean, stress is your body's reaction actually to whatever demand comes, whatever challenges come in front of you, your body actually reacts. And that's a stress. A small amount of stress, a moderate amount of stress is actually good. It is required for our life. Why? Because this will help you avoid any danger. It will help you meet a deadline. It will help you achieve things in your life. If the student does not have any tension, वो एकदम निश्चिंत है, so he will not score good in exam. So little tension is important. That tension is required because that makes you perform. That makes you work for your deadline. That makes you work for your revenue. That makes you work for your company, project, target. If there is a relationship, again, the stress is required a little bit because that makes that relationship not to be taken as granted. Little stress is anyway required. That's good. And this actually is, created as by nature that way. I mean, if you can kind of recall that flight and fight situation, I mean, flight is bhaglo, lekin if you fight for anything for that matter, I mean, fight के लिए body का structure ही ऐसा बनाया हुआ है कि your liver stores maximum amount of glucose. Almost about 40% of the total glucose is stored by your liver. Why it is stored? It is stored for that fight situation. It is stored for that emergency situation. It is stored to deal with that stress at that point in time. Because suddenly, if something happens, you have to run. Suddenly something happens, you have to fight. You have to put your best. You have to give your best. And for that, you need energy. And energy is glucose. So whatever glucose you produce in your body, liver has to keep about 40% of the glucose as reserve. And that reserve, it does not only keep glucose, liver also produces glucose if another need be. So for emergency, that kind of body structure is already created, and entire body system of ours is made that way. And we keep a tendency to keep looking at problems. You get into a situation where you actually trace and look at a problem. Some people, as I said in the initial slide, that some people would look more, some people would look less. I mean, intensity would be different. My mother would look always something very, very negative, something which is wrong. She will always notice and she will keep repeating that. So intensity would be different, but one would always notice the negative aspect of it. Why so? I want you to understand that. Why so? Why we think negative? Why we think so? Any answer? We are overly concerned about things that has not happened. We think that has failed, that did not work out. Than the things that is achieved, than the things that is actually worked out, that was done, that was created. Why it is that? It works every time. In work-life situation, you take whatever things you have achieved since morning. If you work for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, you have done so many things in the whole day. You have achieved so many things. You do not remember any of them. When you go to sleep or when you actually sit back, you realize that this did not work. This did not happen. So in work-life situation, in your career you have achieved so much things. Something that has not worked out, you'll always notice. You have done quite a good performance and something which did not work. So in work, money, life, if you talk, something that did not work, you will always remember and you will notice there. So you keep getting into that. So I'm referring to that stress aspect of it. It gives you stress. And if you take the current scenario, for example, is the classic example. In the last 1 year or plus, this entire COVID and lockdown situation, we are stressed with so many things. Stressed with that the business is not happening, the job scenario is bad, the opportunities are difficult. There is a tremendous stress as far as the fear is concerned and things are concerned. So people are completely stressed with n number of things. Someone has got family, some kind of disease effect, infection effect. Someone has got relatives, someone has got friends, someone has got something. Someone's employees are affected, someone's team is affected. Overall, the business is affected, the company is affected, and you do not know where it is heading to and what is the certainty and non-certainty. So what is happening is there are certain level of stress, agree. But there are good things also in this. And what is that good thing? If you notice, that you are still getting the food, you're still at home, you're still having a shelter, you still have that bank balance, and you still have that money to really, keep up your life. You still have loving parents and family and everyone. But then what is happening is, still, we actually, if you take the 10 things that we think that wo wala aspect ki kahin mujhe hua to, kahin waisa hua to, kahin waisa hua to. So what happens is, this I just wanted to explain that this is a normal phenomena in our system, and we keep, thinking something which actually is not working out, which something that does not really, it exists there, and we always notice that. Why we notice that? This way of thinking is actually absolutely normal. This is how people think. This is how it should be thought of. In the entire human history, if you talk about, the human history has evolved like this. The human has evolved like this, that being alert of something dangerous, being alert of something negative, negative threats यदि है, कोई threat दिख रहा है कहीं पे, तो that is a human survival. This is how human has survived, and this is how human has evolved. Human has grown. Today, whatever the human species are at whatever growth level is because of this particular nature. This is absolutely normal to think that way. And then in the organization, when you actually go through a management theory, you talk about SWOT analysis, and you talk about your threat, and you still talk about your weakness in 2 blocks. Why we talk about? Because that is what is important. That is what to be noted. That is what to be, eliminated from there, so that it does not, obstruct you, does not stop you from growing, from, evolving. In our job, in our business, the same thing applies. This is completely natural. If there is a process going on, and as a manager, I always wonder when I, was doing my MBA, and that time I was working that if this is something that you are going to be a manager now, and then I thought that I'm getting into something where I'm always stressed. I'm always thinking that what has gone wrong? What has gone wrong? But then a good manager is also to manage his own mind. If he is not able to manage his stress and his mind, he's anyway not a good manager. So he is not something that manager is always in stress. So in our job, in our business, everywhere is apply, and this is absolutely normal. Till then it is fine. So what happens? We pray for stress. Let me put this word. We pray for stress. We continue thinking about what is not done, what is negative, because positive emotions tells us that everything is fine. So you do not need to do anything about it. You do not need to think about this. And keep getting stressed more and more if you think about negative. So positive में तो कुछ सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है. But if you do not think about that particular aspect, then things will fail. So you keep thinking. So शाम को something went wrong. What you do actually is you go back and you start thinking कि उसको check करना चाहिए था. I would have addressed it in time. I should have noticed it. I should have anticipated the problem, and I should have addressed it. And that makes our behavior working that way, that we keep finding it out if there is anything going wrong. A lady working in kitchen would always keep finding it out if there is something missing, if there is something garbad. If you are preparing for something, a meeting, a dinner party, or maybe something, you always get into something that if everything is fine. If everything is fine is the word where we keep, getting into that. And we keep getting stressed more and more we do this. Data says that about 82% of Indians are stressed as far as money and work is concerned. I'm not talking about any personal stress or any relationship stress and things like that. When we talk about money and work, about 82% Indians are stressed. That's one data. And the same data goes with US, where they talk about 62% of USA people are stressed as far as money and work is concerned. I'm right now talking about only money and work because that is what keeps you, addicted to stress. Keep working on that line. And so the question is, can you be addicted to stress? Stress होना एक बात है, and उससे addict होना एक दूसरी बात है. This is a picture which I found quite relevant, is that you are, carrying the work with this kind of intention. Everyone is carrying the work and should carry the work. But are you carrying the work like this, which actually is impacting you, जिस पे कि आपके ऊपर load है और continuous load है? High stress level wreak havoc in our well-being. And here is a trap. And what is the trap? That when you are workaholic and pressure-seeking nature person and continue doing that for a longer time, maybe a couple of years, couple of months, then it is difficult to walk back. It is difficult to return. And I am the best example of it. And I'm telling you with a lot of experience here on this, that I am workaholic and I am pressure-seeking nature person. That's the line. I am pressure-seeking nature person. And that I have walked through quite a long, for years together. And now I am working on this for, deep on it. And it is so difficult to really walk back and to really reverse this out. Since my college days and early career days, I think I have been working on the same mode for some reason. Somewhere I adopted, somewhere I started with, and I started working on this line. It always gave more performance. It always gave more reward. It always gave. I remember my first job as a branch manager of some, appliance company as a marketing manager. And whatever 4 branch ka target, I used to complete alone. And I used to, always, multiply my targets. And I used to get rewarded for that. So a lot of dopamine release and a lot of, appreciation. And you feel that something more can be done, something more can be done. And you were at that and you were doing that. What happens is, work on that line, you start working on, low resources. So your resource becomes low because you start delivering more or you start getting more out of it. And anyway, resource remains low everywhere, whether it is finance, whether it is team, whether it is people, whether it is whatever your time, resource will be always low. But on low resource, if you start working on those kind of thing, it actually keeps doing that. And it has own justification of it every time. When you actually do the look back and kind of review your day, week, month, anytime, it has got its own solid justification. Logic is there, and that logic convinces you. And that always kept convincing me that, okay, the market is bad. Okay, this industry I have taken. Okay, this expansion I'm doing. Okay, this kind of team I have. Okay, this kind of working capital crisis I have. Okay, this kind of innovative model I have taken, and that is why it is happening that way. And another 1 year, another 6 months, I will be able to set that down and do that down. So this is an ongoing process. But one incident happened. An incident happened last year, March, 2020 March. What happened? That this COVID-19 came into existence. And suddenly everything got closed down. Lockdown was announced and no one knew what to do. And same with me. My couple of businesses completely got stopped. And I am into some business which is, more to do with, supplement, nutraceuticals and expiry date and things like that. So what happened was a huge amount was lost because of the expiry dates and things like that. I'm into e-commerce and this sales and everything happens on online, and the whole warehouse and the office location was declared as red zone and no courier was picking it up. The stock was out and everything was done, and the actual stock was expiring and it expired. So what happened was you made a loss which ran more than 50 lakh in terms of the stock itself, and it went to something, your work got to stop, the opportunity loss took place, the company made huge losses, and you actually tried to, cope up and survive. And I always thought that I'm good at, coping up and surviving and kind of, managing my things and taking out always positive. And I always look for, my opportunity and strength and things like that. And I, of course, did, and we keep doing that. But then that was the time when I got little bandwidth. And when I got little bandwidth, I mean, it was such a bandwidth that it was nothing to do. But I'll tell you, but that time also I realized that I'm overloaded with work. I am overloaded with work was the feeling. And I used to work again 10 hours, 12 hours, sometimes 14 hours. And I was always overloaded. And no time I had got idle to really think of. Even if I was sitting idle, it was overloaded. And the first time in my life, in the entire 28 years of my work life, I did not notice that this has gone to that extent where you do not have anything to do. Then also you are so much stressed that you're doing. So then I noticed that I am someone who is addicted to stress. That was the disease was identified. And this disease was identified well in April and end April last year. So I've completed already more than a year plus of the diagnosis of the disease. Before that also, I used to think sometime that is it something psychiatric problem or something. Sometime I used to get into a stress. Sometime I get into, something that I'm missing something, I'm doing something. I used to get hyper on certain projects. I used to get hyper कि कुछ छूट तो नहीं रहा आज के दिन के लिए. जब मैं TTD सुबह में बनाता हूँ, तो whenever I used to make things to do and to do list, that was the most hyper time. मुझे ऐसा बार-बार लगता है, फिर से एक बार निकाल के लगता है कहीं छूट तो नहीं रहा कुछ. Is it that whole day I've taken? Is it fully optimized? Is it done? Is it done? It is always that way. So कभी-कभी मैं बैठ के सोचता था, is it not too serious issue? Should I see a psychiatrist or someone and find it out कि why I'm doing this? But then last year when I got free, I realized that this is something which is addiction to stress. And, I then started working on solutions. And I worked on so many solutions. A couple of solutions have worked. So far, I think I'm on a path of, getting better, but long way to go because, as I said, it is very difficult to walk back. It is an addiction. So what I did was I started, removing things from my table. I started, keeping things stock. Whatever loss it takes, it takes. So a couple of businesses, couple of, functions, even I'll tell you last 3 months, in fact, I have paused my couple of courses and coachings. I've actually paused. And a good roaring every week, couple of lakhs giving coaching, I've actually paused. My 5-day masterclass, I have paused for all 9 weeks now, 10 weeks. And I do not know for how long I'm pausing it because I've paused it because I do not want to, get into that, I'm treating myself to that addiction. And I'm still trying to, make the best and do that out. And I've taken certain timeline and I'm doing it phase-wise. So again, but then the target gets extended. I have now taken a target of 15th August. And there are certain things which I got to achieve out of that. Again, reducing that out. So let me again further explain my problem and then I get to the solution. Addicted to stress is the word I said. This is the one I am, which is addicted to stress. So you can actually become chemically addicted to a stress hormone called cortisol. You have got a stress hormone, cortisol, and you can be addicted to that cortisol. That's what I'm saying. And in turn, your body is going to force your brain to think negatively to get that stress for what? To get that kick. वो सिगरेट पीने वाले को एक किक की जरूरत होती है. वो चाय पीने वाले को एक किक लगता है. वो ड्रग पेडलर को एक किक लगता है. वो ड्रग लेगा तो किक लगेगा. तो ये किक के लिए आपके ब्रेन को फोर्स किया जाता है कि get the stress, get negative, and ये सब कुछ होता है. And I am doing it, so I can explain you and tell you quite properly. And the problem is not that you cannot manage your stress. We all are managing our stress quite well. In fact, I am known for managing stress quite well because I have seen so many ups and downs, right from business to something, and I have always been able to manage stress well. In fact, my family, my relatives, my office colleagues, my business associates always tell that you manage it quite well. You manage it quite well. So everyone, you, me, everyone manages the stress quite well. And we all are doing fabulous. You're doing fabulous. You're getting the job done. You are actually, getting things done. You are getting, achieve whatever needs to be achieved in the day, in the week, in the business. So we are meeting the deadline. We are making achievements. We are doing all that. So we are managing stress and we are actually doing that. But you are getting addicted to that cortisol slowly. And you are getting addicted. That's what I'm saying. One more point I would say that the trouble begins when the stress response becomes so habitual. Once you get habituated to that stress response, then the problem actually starts. And we all start seeking more and more stress. बिना उसके काम ही नहीं चलता है. थोड़ा और स्ट्रेस की जरूरत होती है. Like overworking करने की जरूरत होती है. Overworking किया तो अच्छा लगता है. And we become addicted to that heightened state. कोई भी ड्रग एडिक्शन में, कोई भी एडिक्शन में एक heightened state होता है कि उसका एक स्टेट में पहुंच गया तो उसको अच्छा लगता है. और ड्रिंकर को एक heightened state में आ गया तो उसको बहुत अच्छा लगता है. एक सिगरेट पीने वाला जब एक कश ले लेता है तो उसको वो heightened state आ जाता है. तो heightened state में आने की बात यदि की जाए तो जब आप उस heightened state में पहुंच जाते हो, then it feels that great. And it is same like any addicted person. I mean, cigarette, smoke, whatever addiction you name it, and it is there. So stress causes that natural high, you can call it, by activating our arousal and attention system. ये दोनों सिस्टम है यहाँ पे, ये उसको एक्टिवेट कर देता है. एंड स्ट्रेसेस कैन ऑल्सो वेक अप द न्यूरल सर्किटरी, जो कि आपकी वांटिंग को, आपकी डिजायर को, आपके क्रेविंग को मॉनिटर करता है. एंड वंस दे डू दैट, देन it works same like the drug do, same like the cigarette or smoking does. So you actually keep doing that because it is actually controlling your craving and your wanting, and it is then forcing you to do that. And what happens here is, once you become used to the higher degree of this stress, because it is a degree, once you reach to that particular higher degree of that stress, what happens, that you will push yourself to feel that way all the time. You need to feel that way all the time. That's what mind says. And you will keep pushing yourself to feel that way all the time. And the brain will seek out more and more that feel-good chemical in order to maintain the same stress level. Because you got to maintain the same stress level. That's what your mind wants, because that is what is there. But there is further more to it. And what is that more is that, just like an addiction, this also requires even higher amount of stress over time. एक सिगरेट पीने वाला फिर 2 सिगरेट पे आता है, फिर वो चेन स्मोकर बन जाता है. एक चाय पीने वाला 4 बार चाय पीता है और फिर वो टी एडिक्ट हो जाता है. एक दारू पीने वाला थोड़ा सा कभी लेता है और फिर वो एडिक्शन पे जाता है. क्या होता है, अमाउंट बढ़ती जाती है, क्वांटिटी कीप्स इंक्रीजिंग. सो वो कब होता है, ओवर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. व्हेन आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट स्ट्रेस, आई हैव माई सेल्फ नोटिस्ड, when I have been gone through this over a decade plus, what is happening is, over a period of time, you actually get addicted to it, and you keep increasing the dose of it. And the trouble becomes, or the trouble starts actually, when your stress response becomes so habitual that without that, you are not existing. And we seek more and more stress. क्या करते हैं, ओवर वर्किंग करने लग जाते हैं, और हाइटेंड स्टेट के लिए whatever is required we keep doing. Let's move next. And this slide I want to say here is that जब आपका स्ट्रेस बढ़ता है, तो नॉर्मली आपका ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ता है, हार्मोनल फंक्शन बढ़ते हैं, हार्ट रेट बढ़ जाता है, आपका सांस लेने का स्पीड बढ़ जाता है, आपका मसल टेंशन बढ़ जाता है, पसीने आएंगे, पर्सपिरेशन बढ़ेगा, एंड इम्यून फंक्शन डाउन होगा, आपका सोचने का शक्ति, डाइजेशन फंक्शन, लॉजिकल थिंकिंग, आपका कंसंट्रेशन, मेमोरी, आपकी कैपेबिलिटी, everything will go down, your energy level, everything will go down. Now, what I'm trying to say here is that I have practiced it and I have noticed it, that your productivity, which is all connected to that blue arrow, goes nosedive. It goes down. Whatever caliber you have, whatever talent you have, whatever, energy level you have, everything is of not so much of use, because it has gone down. Plus, this is happening, and this keeps happening. And it keeps happening to what level? I said here, your muscle tension and things like that. I remember sometime back, long back, I was, trying to learn swimming. And when I was swimming, the swimming coach used to always hold my shoulder and say that, relax it. And I was unable to relax it at all. It was very difficult to relax. Why? Because I'm even in a normal state, my muscles are not relaxed, because you're always stressed because of that particular addiction. You are continuously, trying to achieve that heightened state unknowingly from each part of your body, physiologically, mentally, act-wise, something. And since I am a critically ill patient of this, which I'm explaining, is something that I am giving you live case study, that what actually has happened. And any critically ill would give the symptoms that uske paas bade kya symptom aaye the. I'm going to give you 3 symptoms which I have identified as top 3 symptoms of mine, which I want you to, with this session, why I'm sharing this to you, my personal thing, is that I want you to identify any of these symptoms, even in lower intensity, is present with you or not. Here we go. Are we ready? Just type something in the chat box if you are ready. I'll give you 3 symptoms here. Type ready or something in the chat box if you are here. Superb. So I'm going to give you 3 symptoms which I have identified as the topmost symptoms which I have and I'm holding till today. I'm still working on it. Sometimes I'm able to control it. Sometimes I'm able to, dilute it, but still it is there and I'm working. And today I'm asking a lot of solutions and suggestions from you all experts. Now, number 1 is, as a stress addict, I tend to spend a lot of time focusing on just how busy and stressful my life is. Let me repeat. As a stress addict, I spend my lot of time, or I would say my most of the time, focusing on something that is, how busy I am, how stressful my life is. Whoever I am talking to, perhaps not the business people or the office colleagues, but if I'm talking to someone who is my friend or who is my, classmate or who's my very close family member or someone, I am actually unknowingly telling them about my stress. And I'm not telling them because I don't want to, vomit out. But it is something that I am always focusing on one thing, that how busy I am, how stressed I am. Our answer question to you is that, do you also, in your phone calls, in your meeting, in your talk, or to yourself, you say that I'm too busy, I'm too stressed, my life is too stressful? Is it happening? So that's one symptom. Just keep it with you. And then I would now move to the symptom number 2. I told you I'll tell you 3 symptoms. And the symptom number 2 is, as a stress addict, I will find that I have no free time and I normally ditch most of my family and social interaction. I normally ditch. I normally do not talk to my relatives and actually friends. I make all phone calls which are related to business, which are related to work, which are related to, team and employee and output and production and things and that. All of them, rest comes as last priority to me. And this is there. And this is what is happening. So this is one. And I will always try to, recover it, but it is not. It is something that it does not, really yield any result there. Or perhaps I do not try the right way. So today we'll learn the right way. And the third one, I said 3. So the third one is that the most critical one. The third one is the most critical one. And the third is that I will always seek out stressful scenarios. I will seek out always for stressful scenarios in anything, in my work, in my thing. I would kind of try and take 4 projects at a time. I will try to load myself, my day or something, with so many things, so that there is always a stressful scenario there, unknowingly. And the logic there is a very smart logic and convincing logic is that so many things to complete and I can't afford to delay it. Because of that, I think it is so much of loss. So I need to complete it and complete, and then I need to come back and I need to relax myself also. So there is a lot of convincing logic, but this is the most crucial one, that as a as a stress addict, I was saying drug addict, as a stress addict, I will always seek out stressful scenarios. 3, I said, and all these 3, second point Pratik is asking, second point was that as a stress addict, I will find that I have no time and I'm normally ditching most of my, family and social interaction and things like that. You do not, spend a lot of time there. You spend time in your work and things like that. And you can spend, but you feel that you have no free time. You have no free time is the second one. And the third one is, I will always seek out stressful scenarios, stressful situations. The stress addicts normally do not feel happy most of the time. And I do so. I'm accepting it. So stress addict would not feel happy most of the time. And in the process, it keeps piling on more and more and more and more. And it is a vicious circle. And that's what I have been into. And over a period of a couple of months, I think I'm improving, and I would kind of get there someday. Now, are you also one of them? Whatever I explained, are you also one of them and struggling with a suspected stress addiction? Intensity could be low or more, and even you can call it suspected. Because when someone does RT-PCR test, it is not that they have got the COVID-19, they are suspected. So do you feel are you suspected? If you're suspected of being a stress addict, then type yes in the chat box, and I would take you to 2, 3 more slides, and then we'll come to conclusion. Anyone who feels that you are one of them? Most of you. Great. So then you need to actually act. So most of you actually, what is that Sanjay is asking? You talk with family or friends, only work. Yes, 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 yes. He is agreeing on that. So any of the points, so any of the 3 you take, I mean, it's like, आपका smell चला गया है, आपको fever हुआ है, 1 नहीं हुआ है, तो भी 1 हुआ है, तो you are there. So I'm saying that if it is there, यदि ऐसा है, if you are all in yes, then you need to act and reverse that trend before it becomes too late for you. For me, it had become too late. And I remember my previous days when I used to, be too much stressed, and I used to increase the work hour. I used to do that, and I did not know that actually I'm getting addicted. So that's what it became. The stress addicts are chemically addicted to cortisol. That's what I say. Chemically addicted. The stress hormone cortisol is something that you get addicted to. It keeps forcing your brain to think negative, get more stress, think problem, work more harder, and increase the stress slowly. For what? To get that kick. And you keep doing that. And this is what happens. One more point I have is dopamine encourages repeat behavior. That's why it is an addiction, same as the drugs, same as that cigarette, same as that liquor. In addition to stress hormone, it also releases dopamine. And dopamine is what, all you know, is a feel-good chemical, feel-good hormone. So dopamine encourages repeat behavior by activating the reward center inside your brain. And what it happens is, it makes things more addictive. Reward mil raha hai, or addiction. So there are 2 things on this. There is an addiction to that cortisol, that is stress hormone, and there is a dopamine release also, which actually is rewarding and giving you, I mean, your mind is, getting rewarded for that. And then you keep, getting deep inside it. So now we come to a question that how to know that you are addicted to stress. I have known, I have identified, I have gone deep into it. I have been consulting a couple of, friends and strategic experts on this point. I'm putting my whole knowledge and I'm doing a lot of research and trying to implement that at whatever best level I am at, without, harming any thing here and there. But then how do you know that you are addicted to stress? How to know? And here are a few things. That is me. मैंने अपने बारे में इतना कुछ बताया, तो there are few things which I would tell about me, and that thing को मैंने एक question में put कर दिया है for you in this session, and I put it in the question form, and I'm going to give you 10 questions here to answer right. You type just yes or no against every question. Will take 3 to 4 minutes to complete the 10 questions, and all of them, all the 10 questions which I'm going to ask are indicator for addiction to stress. Each one of them are indicator of addiction to your stress. Each of these questions are something that I have in me. ये मेरे पास है, तभी मैंने ये question आपको बताया. So are you ready with this thing? Shall I start with the questions? I'm going to ask 10 questions and you have to just type yes or no. Shall we start? Type a start in the chat box, or yes or something. Yes. So everyone is saying yes. So let me start with these questions. So I put this first question here. Question number 1. Remember, every question is my personal experience and I am facing this. So I'm just asking you. First question is, do you keep thinking about your work deadlines? Keep thinking, not once. Keep thinking must hamesha. Everyone is saying yes. Anyone no for that? Yes, 1 no I got, Ganesh. Congrats, Ganesh. So you are managed. So think about work deadline is number one question. What next to do? अगला क्या करना है, अगला क्या करना है. कुछ लोग डेडलाइन पे रहते हैं. मैं क्रिटिकल पेशेंट हूँ, क्रिटिकली इल हूँ, तो मैं अपने बारे में बताता हूँ. मैं डेडलाइन के बारे में सोचता हूँ और उसके बाद सोचता हूँ कि उसके बाद अगला वाला कौन सा करेंगे, उसके बाद अगला वाला कौन सा करेंगे. I keep talking about the thing and I keep building that out. What more can be done is always in there in my mind. What more can be done? What more can be done? What more can be done here? What more can be done here? Something. So this is question number one. Gagandeep Singh ji also says no. So there are two no's here. Let us talk about question number two. Here it is. Do you often leave things until the last minute? वो स्टार्ट ही आप लेट से करते हैं कि वो लास्ट मोमेंट के लिए छोड़ा है कि उस समय कर लेंगे, उस समय कर लेंगे. That I'll do it that time and I'll do it that time. Now this is one of the symptoms. This is one of the symptoms. I'll tell you a couple of mine. One is that I always had a habit that I would, take bath and do my rituals and then get started sometime back for office. तो बाथ लेने के बाद बीच का जो गैप है वो ब्रेकफास्ट करने का है और कार में बैठने का है, इतना ही गैप है. तो कभी कभी ऐसा हुआ कि व्हेन यू हैव टू गो लिटिल लेट, से यू हैव टू गो नाउ एट 10 a.m. or 10:30 a.m., you actually delay your bath also to that extent, and you actually bath only 20 minutes before, and you then get into that same rushing and doing the breakfast, rushing that shoe and rushing and getting into the car, and then rushing again in the signals and the driving. Why? Somehow, I do not know. So I actually kept analyzing and I realized that it is not just the bathing and taking the breakfast. If you talk about any project, if you talk about your day's work, you talk about anything, you talk about, audit, and you talk about, doing something. So I'll put it out till, financial year end wala time mein jaake, and then I would start getting into the internal audit and things like that. And then the CA the questions will come and all that will come. And perhaps I never realized that these all are, addiction, and they are giving me, addiction to the cortisol. Not only that, every month, your GST filing time, you would actually push it till 18th and 19th and 20th will be the last date. And you will actually, then that time you will kind of, start answering things and do things. So something that, you can list down your things. It could be something that you try and push it to the last moment. Anything that you do is question number two. Gagandeep ji is improving now. Earlier, he was also in this. Question number three. And question number three is, do you constantly worry about what you might be missing? This is a very personal question. Think on this and you would get some intensity here. Thoda jada, thoda kam. I had got solid intensity here. And I still have a couple of areas जहाँ पे solid intensity है. And I'll tell you one of my experience that what happens. कुछ छूट तो नहीं रहा, ये वाला इसका मतलब है. कुछ छूट तो नहीं रहा, कुछ छूट तो नहीं रहा. This is the level. And ये मेरे साथ क्या हुआ कि कभी एक time में I used to travel a lot in an organization where I was general manager in a company. And I was traveling a lot and I was signing a lot of checks and I was doing a lot of things. Whenever I used to leave the table, and तभी RTGS नहीं था, NEFT नहीं था, and those blah blah things were not there. So you got to actually sign a lot of vouchers. थप्पी के vouchers हैं, expenses के, factories हैं, productions हैं, workers हैं, अलग-अलग departments हैं, and you got to sign a lot of checks. And there were a couple of such things, जैसे accounts में, finance में, taxation में, जो आपके लिए pending है. So when you have to go out, तो forget international, national में भी कहीं जाना है. तो इट वॉज अ बिग थिंग दैट अब जाना है. तो जाना है तो पहले टेबल को उतना क्लियर करके जाना है कि आपके नहीं रहने पे ये काम हो जाए. साइन तो छूट गया तो कुछ भी नहीं हो सकता, फिर तो ट्रांसफर भी नहीं हो सकता. सो व्हाट यूज्ड टू डू इज आई यूज्ड टू इंक्रीज दैट प्रेशर देयर. तो यदि शाम का फ्लाइट है तो वो दिन पूरा प्रेशर में है. एक दिन प्रीवियस टाइम से ही प्रेशर आ गया, बहुत सारा टीटीडी बना रहे हैं, इसको हटा रहे हैं, उसको डाल रहे हैं, ये चेक साइन कर रहे हैं, वो चेक, कुछ छूट तो नहीं रह गया. एक डिपार्टमेंट से पूछ रहे, छूट तो नहीं गया, आप निकल गए. Now this happened couple of years. And then what happened was, then I was a CEO in a particular company, and then this intensity got PhD there. It got mastery there, and so much mastery that everything you got to complete before you really move out. And this keeps happening. तो ये होने के बाद I realized one fine morning कि जब मैं कोई ट्रैवल के लिए निकलता हूँ तो I feel a tremendous amount of pressure an hour before. In the cab to the airport, in the flight, before the thing I'm starting from home, I'm completely stressed. And for what I'm stressed, I'm not knowing. कहीं कुछ छूट तो नहीं गया, बैग में कुछ रखना तो नहीं रह गया, वो डॉक्यूमेंट तो नहीं रह गया, वो चीज तो नहीं रह गया, उसको कुछ बताना तो नहीं रह गया. And on airport lounge, I'm actually too much stressed till the time flight takes off, where किसी को बताना तो नहीं रह गया, उसका फोन तो नहीं रह गया, इसको बता लेते हैं, अभी इसको बता लेते हैं, फिर 2 घंटा बंद रहूंगा, फिर ये रहूंगा, फिर वो रहूंगा. Something बिना मतलब का, which I have myself created. So I have, and to support this, what I did was, for years, I started maintaining a note in my phone itself that before flight, I got to call these guys. So I supported with that tool also. And I kept, ticking back to airport में कि इसको हो गया, इसको हो गया, इसको हो गया, इसको हो गया, Allah, ये काम हो गया, वो काम हो गया. And this created that anxiety in my mind. और आज मैं इस situation में हूँ कि even if I'm not going for any work, I'm actually going normal. I'm actually full of that anxiety कि कहीं छूट तो नहीं गया, कुछ रह तो नहीं गया, कहीं चार्जर तो नहीं रह गया, कहीं वो तो नहीं रह गया, कहीं ये तो नहीं रह गया, something like that. So you keep, getting into anxiety. And I'm actually taking that thing कि when I'm returning, that anxiety is not there. In fact, I'm completely positive and I'm getting into a different mode. So this is question number 3 for me. Then it comes, it is Gagan Devji, it is job responsibility, but how you manage is something. If you manage it as a bad manager, then it is, of course, everyone has got responsibility. People have got bigger responsibility. I mean, I had met a person who, have given always example in my courses here and there, that Dr. Vithal Kamath, the Kamath group ka head, author of the Soul Curry book. Now, he is a giant entrepreneur with international hotels and resorts and whatnot business. And once upon a time, I spent a lot of time with him. So I drove him in my car from Bombay to Pune. And when I was talking to him, he does not take a phone. He wears a simple chappal and kurta pajama. There is nothing with him. Free. And when you talk, he says that you have got people to manage that particular function. If you are getting into it, that means the people there are not capable, or you are not, right and not able to, delegate it and trust him. So this is something that thing. You cannot be bigger than him. You cannot be bigger than Jeff Bezos. Anyone cannot be bigger than Jeff Bezos, who works for 7 hours a day and keeps charging himself. So the idea is how you manage that responsibility. Responsibility will be there, but how you manage. So I'm managing it poorly, pathetically. So that's something that I have been trying to improve. The question number 4 here is, do you have a difficult time doing nothing at all? I have. If you have nothing to do, it would be very, very difficult time. Very, very difficult time. What to do is a question. If you have this, then you are addicted to stress. Then let us move to question number 5. Question number 5, which confirms that you are addicted to stress, is, do you overload your to-do list? When you make your to-do list, do you overload it? Overload then more than what you can chew. Here everyone is saying no. So here I'm completely wrong. Mastood said yes, but most of you say that not overloaded. As an entrepreneur, you always have work. You always have got plans. You have always got low resources, and you have always got, running against the resource, whether it is working capital, whether it is time, whether it is people, and therefore you keep loading that particular thing. I have done that for years together. And this one thing I do is that I feel better. I practically experienced it. कि कभी-कभी जब मैं बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान होता हूँ, तो I take the notebook or take my iPad and start noting the to-do list. And the more I load it, the more I pack it, the better I feel. I'll tell you my personal experience. This is the personal experience. The more I load it, the better I feel, and I feel relaxed. I feel better. What happens? That cortisol addiction and the dopamine releases that yes, itna karenge. You visualize that कि इतना करेंगे. कुछ लोगों के पास ऐसा होगा, देखिए आप टारगेट्स बनाते हैं और एक्सेल सीट में बहुत सारा फिगर्स डाल दिया. जब फिगर्स डाला उसको देखा तो अच्छा लगता है. It looks good. The quarter figure looks good. So that is something that I'm referring to. Or else when I'm not doing that, I'm feeling restless. And जैसे ही मैंने वो कर दिया, मेरा restlessness खत्म हो गया. That's what I'm practically experiencing. So that is something. Let's talk about question number 6. And this is, does it take you a few days off to feel like you are on vacation? You have switched off, you have gone to a vacation, you are getting into the leisure, but then it takes a while, few hours, few days to really you to feel that you are in that. कभी कभी आपका वीकेंड यदि सैटरडे संडे का है तो पहले सैटरडे ऐसे ही निकल जाता है, संडे दोपहर के बाद यू स्टार्ट फाइंडिंग दैट फीलिंग दैट कि ये जो है संडे का अभी टाइम आया, ऐसा कुछ होता है? कैन आई हैव सम रिस्पांस? Gagandeep ji is perfect. I think he is Ganesh and Gagandeep ji is giving perfect status. Superb. So I have a lot to learn from you. So that's what I would come in 3-4 slides later. Let's talk about question number 7. Question number 7 here is, do you spend much of your vacation time thinking about work? This is related to question number 6 only. Here you take little time to really come to that frame that you are on leisure or holiday. And here you are in holiday, you are even enjoying it, but your mind is thinking about work. And I think this happens with most of us. Forget entrepreneurs. It happens with people who are dedicatedly, committed to their work. They keep thinking about work, and thanks to these devices and 24/7 work and all those culture, that you are completely synced and hooked with that. So you keep thinking that. So this is about thing. Let us talk about question number 8. And this question number 8 is, do you find it difficult to turn your brain off? Do you find it difficult to turn it off? Devinder ji says that sometime. Maksud says yes, yes. Now, I will tell you, when you actually go to sleep, the best time to test is that when you go to sleep, when you want to switch off your brain, what thought comes in your mind? What happens there? While trying to sleep, I'll tell you mine. While trying to sleep, I bring that thought of most challenging or difficult task in hand that I have, or something that I think of completing. Most challenging one, हाँ, मैं चुन के लाता हूँ और कहाँ से लाता हूँ मुझे नहीं मालूम, मेरा सबकॉन्शियस लेके आता है. जब भी मैं सोने की कोशिश करता हूँ, रिटायर होता हूँ रात में, तो जो सबसे टफ काम है, जो सबसे डिफिकल्ट है, जो नहीं हो रहा है, जो सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज है हमारे वर्क में, इसमें उसमें डे में वीक में, वो वहां पे आता है. एंड देन स्टार्ट आई थिंकिंग कि इसको कैसे करेंगे, इसको कैसे करेंगे, इसको कैसे करेंगे, हाउ आई विल मैनेज द रिसोर्स, हाउ आई विल गेट द टीम, हाउ आई विल गेट द फाइनेंस और समथिंग. सो इफ आई स्टार्ट थिंकिंग ऑन दैट, आई फील रिलैक्स्ड and I do not know that I am addicted. I feel relaxed, but I am actually addicted, and that takes me there. So this is what is 8 number. At times it has become so restless that मैंने आधा घंटा 45 मिनट 1 घंटा 1.5 घंटा बिता लिया वैसे ही सोचते, and it became so restless that I got up and I took my MacBook and I started working on something related to that. I opened that sheet and I started working on that, and it is making me then better. I'm now not restless. This is what I have done it, and I have done it couple of times in a week. That's what I have been doing. So this is what is number 8, which you can relate with. And question number 9, second last question, is, do you lack time to connect with your family, friends and relatives? आपके पास इसके लिए समय कम पड़ता है क्या कि आप अपने रिलेटिव्स को, अपने ब्रदर को, अपने पेरेंट्स को, अपने किसी को फोन नहीं कर पाते हैं? आपका टाइम कम पड़ता है, वक्त नहीं होता फोन करने के लिए. If this is so, and if this is happening in this lockdown, then it is the sign that you are into that addiction. And the last one, last but not the least, is this, that do you feel like you are constantly running from one thing to the next? You're not having a stoppage in between. एक खत्म हुआ नहीं कि दूसरे की तरफ आप भाग रहे हैं. Do you think that way? For me, it is never ending. It is one खत्म, दूसरा, because मैं उसके पहले ही तीसरा चौथा भी worry कर रहा हूँ कि कैसे होगा. So this is what it is. So many of you have said yes. Couple of you have said no, because then 10 question, किसी के लिए 2 apply होगा, किसी के लिए 5 apply होगा, किसी के लिए 1 apply होगा, and there would be people जिसके लिए कुछ different apply होगा. Now let me conclude this out this way. It is very important to recognize that what damage this stress addiction, which we have talked for 40 minutes, is actually doing to all of you. and how it affects our entire system. You could see the diagram which I have given. It affects your heart, it affects your blood pressure, it affects your digestion system. Your acidity can be because of that. Your indigestion can be because of that. It could affect your anxiety. It could affect your blood sugar. It could affect your, everything. But most importantly, it could affect your immune system. That is what is today's biggest thing today. And it is very difficult to come out of this addiction. Very difficult. Walking back is very difficult. As I personal experience, I'm telling that I'm struggling. After diagnosis, a year plus has happened, 13 months is running, and I'm still, working on it. There are a few strategies that I have been following. And one is that you can train your brain to be more comfortable with stillness, with calmness, with easiness, with low workload. Train your brain to, be more acceptable to low work, easy work, less pressure, and things like that. And that needs to be done, and that requires thorough practice. I mean, you can't do it normally. There are techniques that balances your stress hormone. That's what I studied and I did. And for a couple of months, I've been following it out. And I have gone to a regime or routine where 30 minutes non-stop, I get into the meditation, and I get into that every day after my bath in the morning. So what's happening is your deep breathing, your meditation, all these work. I'm also told, which I have once experienced, but I'm just telling you that certain type of massage techniques can also work wonder. I will tell you once experience of mine is that I have been to China and Canton Fair, where you keep walking for, I don't know how much, 10, 20 kilometers a day, because pavilions are so big and you keep walking, पैर में छाले पड़ जाते हैं, and you keep taking the trolley and move. So I used to do that in 10 days. So वो करते समय you get to बीच में Chinese spa होते हैं, और basically Koreans होते हैं ज़्यादा वहाँ पे, Malaysian होते हैं, तो वहाँ पे they have got the spa. So you go a very relaxed environment, and normally those spa massages are sitting massages. So you sit there, and people would, the massager will sit down, and वो आपके पैर में एक दूसरा बंदा आपके कंधे में कुछ हेड में कुछ कर देगा. And the techniques are so wonderful that in 5 minutes flat, आपका पूरा का पूरा थकान छू मंतर, and you will feel so much relaxed, so much easy physically. So that's what they do. So that techniques are there. I don't know whether it is available everywhere. So this is what it is. So now I want you to suggest, I have done my entire thing. I want you to suggest how to, burst this balloon, which is, blown up to that size. And you share your insights, you share your strategies, and tell me how to really come out of this and do this out. I would stop sharing this and we'll talk. Yes, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. Completely fine now.
Everyone is fine at home now?
Yeah, everybody is fine, actually.
It was a series, one after other, everyone was happening.
Yeah, one after other. Myself, my wife, my son, my daughter.
Oh my God.
सब लोग कोविड के चपेट में आ गया.
Okay.
And that too one after another, not at a time. For last 1 month, it was very stressful. This was a stress on me. I was not able to manage my all the affairs, and really it was very stressful. Sometimes I started thinking whether I will be live or I will be dead. This thought also came into my mind. So this type of stress, I just have realized and gone through it. So this was one of the, but inside, I am always hopeful that God is going to help me. I am not going to die so soon. This was the thought process behind me, and I think that helped me. Once upon a time, my oxygen level reached up to 75.
Oh.
But soon, as soon as I saw the oximeter, it is showing 75. I kicked myself how it can go to the 75. It can't be. The oximeter is wrong.
Okay.
I put another oximeter, and that was also showing 75, 76. Again, I am showing this oximeter is wrong. Some battery problem is there. And suddenly when this thought came to my mind, the oxygen level went within 3 to 4 minutes up to 90, 91.
Oh,
So this was a fantastic thing, and it was an amazing thing. The positive thought, when the positive thought came into my mind, the oxygen level suddenly jumped.
super.
And
Yeah.
I was traveling in the car. I was in search of when I will go to the hospital, and this was all happening on a long tour, whether I will reach to the hospital or not.
Oh,
So this was the stress, but I was able to manage with the positive thinking that nothing will happen to me. I am going to survive. I have a lot of responsibility over my shoulder. I have to discharge. God has sent me. And if the God has given me the children and wife to manage, unless and until I will settle their life, nothing will happen to me.
great.
This was the thought process. And I think with this thought process, I manage that stress level.
Amazing.
So I think this is the
Good
solution.
insight for everyone. I think this positive thinking. I think one of the doctor, I forget the name, very senior doctor who has been teaching the pruning and all that prone situation and all that from Medanta Hospital, comes on TV every time. He has been talking about this, and he was talking about that if you are into a stressed mode and depressed mode, thinking the end ka bad aspect of it कि ये हो जाएगा, so your oxygen level will further go down, and this will further. And you are giving me practical example, and this is
And
something.
after that, I immediately reached to the hospital. I was knowing I will be tested positive, and the result was positive. Then I got admitted in the hospital, and proper treatment was done.
Okay.
And then I recovered after 21 days.
Super.
So,
Yes, Govind, you have to give me a couple of insights because you had quite a few no.
I think
Yes,
that
sir.
overthinking is one of the main reason. So we should avoid overthinking to manage our stress level and the expectation of result also. When we expect more, why the thing is not working, the over expectation is also one of the reason. So we should not expect more. We should take the life as it comes and be easy. Whatever sales is going on, whatever event is coming in our life.
One thing is always there, that it is easier to said than done. So you can very well say that keep the low expectation. But since you are already struggling, that you have got one financial year completely gone, I'm talking about everyone's scenario. Your financial year has gone. You are an entrepreneur. You have got responsibility. You have got salaries being distributed every month. You have got your opportunity cost has gone down. Forget entrepreneur. Come to a person who is salaried. His salary is chopped off half. His opportunity is gone. His uncertainty. The job market has, responded differently. So how one should, they are already in negative actually. So keeping further low expectation, how it is possible is sometimes a contradictory question. That is what keeps, so therefore I kept saying that there is always a logical answer which convinces us otherwise. We want to think this way, but the logical answer convinces it otherwise. For example, take the case when I was identified, diagnosed, like you got diagnosed as a positive in COVID. I got diagnosed in April end last year myself, no doctor, no test, myself got diagnosed that I am stress addict. When I was diagnosed, what I should have been done, that, I mean, nothing much to do. I think I would have so much money, at least, or something, that I would, from my interest for my rentals, I think I could kind of get 5-7 lakh rupees a month. So I could kind of take my life further without doing anything, without touching anything. But then it did not work that way. You are into some engine, you are into some business, you are into some responsibility, and you are not completing that. So I can't stop. Switch off कर दिया तब तो आराम से बैठ जाता था. मैंने switch off ही नहीं किया और switch off कर ही नहीं पा रहा हूँ. So उसका क्या solution है? That's what insight I'm asking. Saying is fine. If I'm in a job, I will say that, okay, I will start my mail checking at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. Just now, Manisha suggested that 9 o'clock. However, I value her suggestion that even if I'm an entrepreneur, I must decide that I will check at 9 o'clock only. But what happens is, I'm an entrepreneur. I know that there are some damages will take place if I do not see it on time. Then what I should do? Then you get into that. So
Yeah, yeah.
there is a very thin line gap.
I think, sir, in that case, in your scenario, uh, we should call our whole team and discuss this, how to take this situation. And so far salary distribution is concerned, as an entrepreneur, you have to distribute the salary to the employee. So we must learn to live at the low lifestyle.
Yeah, that's another way. Not only in salary, in terms of any operational expense.
Yeah.
You should keep it at minimalistic approach is what I can call it.
Approach, and this should be applicable to the employee also.
Yeah.
You are carrying so number of employees. They should also accept, they also should accept a low salary or a minimum salary.
Right.
That can help.
Yeah. Govind want to say something. Yes, Govind.
Yes, sir. First tip this is what I do. The technique is called brain dump. So what you do is whenever you have too many thoughts running in your mind, just take a piece of paper and write down everything, whatever it is coming. Just write down everything. That will release. I'm not saying it will fix the stress, but that will release some amount of stress. That's one technique that I follow. I'm not sure if it works for everyone, but this is what I follow. Second thing is
how brain dump gets connected, since we had also one of the complete dedicated session on brain dump in our mastermind once. I'm saying that when you talk about stress management is one thing, and stress addiction is another one. I'm talking about when you do the brain dump, is that stress addiction comes down? I'm asking that question. According to me, it does not too much help, because when you actually dump, you are actually dumping the whatever you had in mind. It's done. But then you are addicted to stress. You want more and more stressful situation. You want more and more thing that's continuously you are trying to line up, because otherwise you are not feeling easy. If you are idle, you get restless. So how do we deal with that?
Addiction, I'm not sure, sir. But yeah, this is, if I have to manage stress, this is one technique that I use.
Stress management, of course, that's the best technique that I am agreeing with. But when it comes to addiction to stress, which was the topic for today, we did not talk about stress management. We talked about addiction to stress.
Correct.
So when you are addicted, it is a deep root inside. Like couple of things, like practical thing Manisha said, and Manisha also says one line that it also to do with delegation. But again, I would tell Manisha that there is again thin line there, delegation and resource availability. Whom you will delegate? If I'm Sholay movie ka जेलर, अंग्रेजों के जमाने का जेलर असरानी, देन उसके साथ 3 सिपाही हैं, 4 सिपाही, वो बोला आधे उधर जाओ, आधे उधर जाओ, and rest follow me, and there's no one to follow you. You have got a small team or big team, whatever, and you have a project, and you have said that you do this, you do this, you do this, and then rest follow me. Who is following you?
So, Rajesh, yeah, sorry, now I can unmute instead of typing.
Yeah.
So, what I wanted to mention was, and not that I'm still sailing the same boat as you mentioned of stress addiction. There were 2 points which were more to do. In fact, for me being from corporate world, and another to add a feather in cap, a woman at top in corporate world, it's always a constant endeavor to prove. I mean, it is always that, and it is not that you have to prove consciously, but there are people who are watching you out at a top level. So it was always my fight, and not that I had to really prove. I mean, let me tell you. I mean, that was my stress created by myself. Through my career, it was always proven, and even the people around me do know my capabilities. So there was nothing, but it was my internal pressure that I had created. And being even in sales, I always have been creating pressure on myself. कि अरे number नहीं होगा तो आगे क्या होगा? अभी ये टारगेट है, वो बंदा मेरे से बराबर से बिहेव नहीं कर रहा है, तो उसका अभी कैसे करने का, ये डिवीजन कैसे हैंडल करने का. नाउ आई डोंट हैव दिस. सो इट वाज ऑल क्वेश्चंस, and then ultimately I did mention to you it, and I have my life experience where it has impacted my digestive system.
Okay.
with a high stress level. So one and couple of exchanges I did have on some other aspect when I was talking to you, where when at a point in time it came as a point, okay, what am I fighting for?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that money? Is that career to prove myself? तो जैसे अभी आपने कहा घर है आई एम अ फार्मेसी ग्रेजुएट, यानी कुछ तो अर्न कर पाऊंगी, नहीं ऐसा नहीं है कल केमिस्ट के शॉप में भी खड़े कर. सो आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट माई सेल्फ कि क्या मैं किस चीज के लिए भाग रही हूँ. द मोमेंट आई स्टार्टेड क्वेश्चनिंग दैट, देन आई कुड पुट अ लिटिल stop to myself.
I think Manisha, you have nailed it, and you have given me a big insight. This is the line that what I am doing it for.
किस चीज के लिए मैं
ये
भाग रही
वाले
हूँ.
लाइन पे आए तो फिर बहुत सारे लॉजिकल आंसर्स आने लगे.
हाँ,
किस
किस
चीज के लिए?
के लिए, क्या है वो, क्या मकसद है जिंदगी का, मैं क्या चाह रही हूँ,
हाँ, हाँ,
मैं क्या
yes.
एंजॉय कर रही हूँ, और मेरे पास कितना फाइनेंशियल बैकअप है, और मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ और क्या करना चाहिए.
वर्स्ट सिनेरियो में क्या होने वाला है, क्या हो जाएगा.
हाँ, वर्स्ट में क्या होगा, वर्स्ट में क्या होगा. सो आई स्टार्टेड प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर वर्स्ट, एंड देन आई स्टार्टेड लुकिंग एट, आई विल डू माई कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन टू द एक्सटेंट आई कैन इन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. एवरीवन नोज. आपने जैसे अभी कहा ना, मैं भी 11 बजे, मेरा ऐसा होना था कि आई शुड, मेरे इनबॉक्स में कोई भी मेल अनआंसर्ड होना नहीं चाहिए. तो वो एंडेवर में रात को 11 बजे 12 बजे, देन यू सडनली रियलाइज, अरे ये डेलीगेट नहीं किया तो कल का ये टू डू इसके ये. देन आई स्टार्टेड स्टॉपिंग माई सेल्फ कि क्या हो रहा है वर्स्ट केस सिनेरियो में, कुछ नहीं हो रहा है. Even in corporate life, I am contributing and organization knows me. So where am I wanting to reach? वो full stop जहाँ लग गया है ना, उसके बाद मेरा सिचुएशन ज्यादा कंट्रोल में आने लगा है. एंड आई टोल्ड यू 9 a.m. You can change being an entrepreneur. Maybe you advance it because I get up a little late, say 6 o'clock. You are an early riser. So maybe you can start your day early accordingly. But what I categorically started, I'm not believer of any preaching, but I did follow and listen
very practical pointers you have given. So,
no, I did followed a lot on Brahma Kumaris and positive affirmation.
okay.
So, the moment you get up, my day, those 5 affirmations, I without any, यानी कोई दूसरा दिमाग में विचार न लाते हुए, वो आज के दिन में वो 5 दिन मेरे साथ होनी ही है, ऐसे करके. Like I do rattle, I am stress free, I am positive, I am happy. Like this is what I wanted to achieve for like say 1 month. So they're my first morning positive affirmations that I start, and a categoric one. 1 hour morning उठ के ना मैं कोई न्यूज पढ़ती हूँ, ना कोई व्हाट्सएप देखती हूँ, बंद कर दिया सब.
Okay.
और मेरा सिर्फ चैंटिंग चलता है, मैं वो यानी भजन लगा देती हूँ 1 घंटे के लिए.
Okay.
So you can modify accordingly, but categoric detox at 1 hour in the morning with positive affirmation. That is what I have started practicing, Rajesh, right now.
Great, Manisha. And one more point, which is not to the point connected with this, but very valid point which you have said, which I have found as a big subject and very nice experience or thing which you have, is that a woman working in corporate at a senior position has got a different level of stress, and that is, making them addicted to stress to some extent. And that, I think, you being such a senior position, you would know that how it goes. Because what happens is no one is questioning you, but there is a label actually indirectly hanging there.
That's what I said. There is an indirect label.
Whether this girl will be able to do it, and this label will exist right from the spouse to family to the top of that company to society to everyone. And by doing all the surrounding on the responsibilities, you still keep doing that, and this is a big amount of a stress which keeps going.
Yeah, so that then I stopped myself. Luckily, my CEO is a woman. So then I started thinking, क्या है worst case scenario क्या है? कुछ नहीं है worst case scenario. I don't have to prove to anyone. तब जाके मेरा वो plug हट गया.
All right. So it was a wonderful session.
Hello, sir.
A lot of sharing. Yes, please.
गणेश बोल रहा हूँ.
ये गणेश जी बोलिए.
आपने डोपामाइन की बात की थी.
जी.
डोपामाइन की कम या ज्यादा होने से क्या होता है, और इस पेंडेमिक में बच्चे भी इसकी चपेट में आ सकते हैं?
नहीं, डोपामाइन तो भास्ट सब्जेक्ट है, उसके मतलब अलग अलग हुए, बट डोपामाइन एक्चुअली इज hormone, which is basically known as feel good hormone. जब आपको कुछ अच्छा लगता है तो डोपामाइन रिलीज होता है तो अच्छा लगता है. तो इसके गुड एस्पेक्ट भी हैं, बैड एस्पेक्ट भी हैं, बट अच्छा लगने वाला चीज यदि माइंड जो है रिलीज किया कि यू फील गुड इज डोपामाइन, एंड कोर्टिसोल इज योर स्ट्रेस हार्मोन. सो मेरा कहने का पर्पस ये था कि जब आप ऐसा कुछ करते हो तो डोपामाइन रिलीज होता है तो आपको अच्छा लगता है क्या बेहतर हुआ. जो मैंने बताया कि टू डू लिस्ट को मैं और ज्यादा लोड कर दिया तो डोपामाइन रिलीज हुआ, मुझे अच्छा लगा. यस, इट इज गुड नाउ, इट इज गुड नाउ. मैं एक टारगेट बना रहा हूँ अपने लिए या अपने सेल्स टीम के लिए या अपने प्रोडक्शन टीम के लिए, तो उस टारगेट में जो पॉसिबल है उतना लिखा है, लेकिन यदि मैंने उसको और लोड किया, भर दिया एकदम, लगता है कि नहीं और क्या हो सकता है, तो और ये हो सकता है, तो डोपामाइन थोड़ा रिलीज हुआ, मुझे अच्छा लगा, ये हो सकता है, समथिंग लाइक. Thanks. So are we done with this today? We have taken a lot of time today. 18 minutes.
Sir, this is Vijay here.
Yeah.
Sir, good morning, sir, and long time, and very good, sir. I really was a good do something like, or what you call, don't know, sir. It is a good awareness what you give, like how you that you are on a right track and how to monitor and measure it, sir. So you are in the right path, or you are on the wrong. Means you can variance, you can come back, check back the variance. And thanks a lot for the wonderful session. And one more, sir. Sir, my login to that your URL, please look into that, sir. I'm not able to
Login is
log
not
in.
existing for anyone actually, because this January onward, the teachable is not existing where it was put on the server. And in any case, that was for a couple of months. So 3 months to 90 days we talked. So the online thing is not existing. You can reach me anytime. And if you want anything, I could help you out with it.
Just looking into those
And
recorded
anyway,
ones,
we
sir.
meet on every Sunday, and alternate Sunday now we are meeting. So that will be there. But online, that material is not existing because there were a lot of rentals going on there, and it was only for 90 days. So once I have removed that in this, so changed the server and it got removed. So it is
So
not.
where can I find this recording, sir?
It is not existing anywhere. So I will have to find out some YouTube or something to keep it there, but it is not there right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, we do better session than that every week. So that is once to refer, nothing to refer as book every time. No? All right, then we sign off today.
Sir, one thing I would like to ask.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, earlier you used to write your name as Rajesh Singh. Now you are writing as Dr. Rajesh.
Yes. So couple of months back, I was given doctorate degree and I became PhD.
Congratulations, sir. I was not
You
knowing.
missed that session, so we had a session on that.
Yeah, sir. Long.
It was in February this year when we got this thing.
Hearty congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you so much. All right, sir. Bye. Have a relaxed Sunday and take care of yourself. Stay safe. Thank you. Stay positive, as per Dr. R.V. Prasad. Stay positive. That's a good lesson we have taken from you, Dr. Prasad. Thank you.